Hey guys, welcome to this video. So the other day I was asked by someone, how do you set up a challenge or a webinar in ConvertKit? I don't quite understand how to set up the tags and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. I'm going to walk you through step by step of what I would do to set up a webinar in ConvertKit to run through like Facebook or that kind of thing. And then what I would do to like create the warm-up emails, the follow-up emails, all that kind of stuff, and make it really easy for you. So let's just jump right in and we'll get right to it. All right, so you can see here that I have my ConvertKit account. It is definitely a trial account because I personally do not use ConvertKit, but I do think ConvertKit is a great tool. So let me just jump right in. So I've got a bunch of dummy data in here that'll help us do this. But the first thing we want to do is create our landing page. So we come up here to grow and landing pages and forms. And I already have the landing page set up that I want to use for this demonstration, which is here, the webinar sign up page, but I'm going to show you the template that I like to use. So we'll go to create new, and then we'll go to landing page. And then the template that I like to use for this is Camden. So if we preview it, you can see here, and I'll explain why I like it. So the first thing you have here is your title, where you can put in all the information that you want, like describing your webinar over here on the left, give a little subtitle, subheading, and then all the information that's going to entice someone to actually sign up for your webinar or your challenge. And then you have the information over here on the right, who is being presented by, and the most important piece is the date and time, which I really like about this template. And then you have the register today, and like all this text you can change the colors, you can have the background image, get rid of it if you want. And then one additional thing that I like to do is, because this form only has the email address, I also like to add the first name field. So I'll walk you through how to do all that, but we are just going to go back, and we're going to go back to my landing page, and I'll show you what I've done here. All right, so we have my landing page up here, and this is for a webinar that I recently ran. So 5 time-saving automations for service-based solopreneurs. And if you want that webinar, I'll leave a link down to it below if you want to check it out. But yeah, so I just put in some dummy data here, like join us for the live webinar. I didn't even fill in the description. I'll leave that to your imagination. But let's just say, for the sake of this demonstration, we are running this on July 15th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then you can see I added in the first name field. So to add that in, all you need to do is click this plus sign, and then come over here to the right to edit the field to make sure that you're selecting first name. So I'll walk you through how to do that. So if I click on the plus, see here, custom field, you select first name, and then make it required, and that's all you need to do. But then the next thing that you want to do is come in here, set up your success message, but I have it set to redirect to a thank you page. So I'm going to redirect to the thank you page. And then you have your incentive email. And I do recommend editing this email, or you can auto-confirm. I don't recommend auto-confirming. What I recommend doing is editing this email. And so instead of saying it like important, confirm your subscription, change this to you're in for the webinar or something like that. And then you can say whatever you want about the webinar, all the details. And then here you can say, like, click this button to confirm your email, and something to that extent, just so that they know that they are enrolling in the webinar. You want to have the double opt-in, make sure that you are sending to get emails so that you are still having and maintaining good deliverability for your emails. So we're just going to click save for that, and then we'll just have it here for confirm subscription as the URL. And that's all you need to do here. So we'll click save, and then we're going to cancel out of this, and then you can see also here that I've added a thank you page. And there's usually a little plus button here where you can just say add a new page, and it'll create the thank you page. It creates a page that looks exactly like your webinar page, your registration page. And so you just have some additional details here. So like I say, thanks for registering, check your email for all your work registration details, and then also to expect a few emails leading up to the webinar to prepare for the talk. So that is your landing page. That is the first thing you need to do. Step 2 is setting up your tag for the webinar. So to do that, we're going to come over here to grow. We're going to go to subscribers, And yes, we're going to leave this page because I don't want to save it. And then over here on the right, we have our tags. And I've already created a tag for this, but here's what you would do. So you come over here to the right, click create a tag, and then you just type in your tag name. So for something like a webinar, I would do like webinar, and then the year, and then the month. So like 2024-07. And this helps me know, like, all right, this is a webinar, this is when I ran it, and then that way I know whoever has this tag enrolled in that webinar. So for a challenge, I would do the same thing. So like challenge 2024-07. And so I would know I ran this challenge in 2024 in July. So click save for this. And then you can see it creates a new tag. And then it takes you to the list of that tag. But you can see here, I already have a webinar 2024-07, and I already have 60 subscribers. And that's just for demo purposes of this tutorial. But yeah, so that's the next thing that you need to do. Step 3 is creating your emails. And there are 2 types of emails that you need to create. You need to create your keep warm emails. So these are going to be the emails that are sent out before your webinar or your challenge starts, just to kind of keep people engaged. That way they're not forgetting about it, that they've enrolled, and that they are aware of any steps that they need to do beforehand before coming to the webinar or your challenge. So we're going to send those as broadcasts, and then you have your follow-up emails, which we're going to set up as a sequence. So to do that, we come over here to send, go to broadcast. And I'm not going to walk you through this step because if you're using ConvertKit, you already know how to create an email. And if not, then there are plenty of tutorials online to show you how to do that. But the idea here is you are just creating your keep warm emails, and then you're just going to schedule them to go out on the schedule that you want them to send out. So let's say we have our webinar on July 15th, and generally I would promote it a week or so beforehand, and I would have those emails in conjunction with that. So like email 3 would go out like 24 hours beforehand, or like even that morning, and then like another email like the day before, and then like a couple of days before that. And so I would just schedule each of those emails out. But here is what you would want to do in terms of sending that email. So right now I just have them all saved as drafts, but what you can do is schedule these out. But since this is the demonstration, these are all demo emails, I'm not actually actively scheduling anything. But you come in here, you click edit, and this is where having that tag is important. So you come in here to your email, you go to continue. This is where you start to send your email. So you click send to email. And then what you want to do is matching all the following. So by default, it's going to look like this. So matching any of the following 501 subscribers. So like that's the number of people that I have in my list. And then what you want to do is you want to add a filter. So you add a filter. Instead of all subscribers, we are going to go to subscribe to. And then instead of forms, we want tag. And then we will select our tag. So for this one, it is webinar 2024-07. Then add filter. Then we can see our list drops down to 60 subscribers. So this email is only going to be sent to people who have this tag. And then you come down here and schedule this email for whenever you want it to go out. And then you click continue, follow the rest of the steps to send your email. But I'm not going to do that here for this demonstration, but that gives you the gist of what you need to do for your keep warm emails. Now let's talk about the follow-up emails. So your follow-up emails you want to send as a sequence. And the reason why you want to send these as a sequence is because you know that these are all going to go out at the exact same time, at the same schedule for every single person. So let's go to sequences. And these are our follow-up emails. So you would create a new sequence, but I've already created one here, webinar follow-up. And your follow-up emails would simply be a bunch of emails that you would send like after your challenge or your webinar is complete. So I have a couple of emails here. I have like 4 emails. So the first one I have is it sends immediately, and I'll explain when this email is going to get sent out here in a few moments. But this one is like, thanks for attending the webinar. Here's your replay. Because generally, like if you're doing a webinar, you are sending out a replay of that webinar with for them to watch and for people who weren't able to attend live. So this is that first email that's going to get sent out. So I have not filled out any content for these emails. These are just here for demonstration purposes again. And then, so this one is sent immediately. And then I have my first follow-up email. So follow-up email number 1. This is going to be sent 1 day after. And then you put in your content here. And then follow-up email 2. This one's going to be sent 2 days later. And then this is some more information, like post follow-up with a webinar. Again, trying to either sell them on like the program or whatever you're trying to sell on the back end, or trying to push them into a consultation call, like really whatever you're trying to push them to. You're trying to warm them up for that. And then finally you have like your last email that you would send for that. And again, 1 day. The one thing to keep in mind when you are creating a sequence is by default, it's going to be in draft mode. So you can see draft over here. And so in order for this email to send, you need to make sure that it is turned on and set to published. Because if it's not set to published, that email will not send. So keep that in mind when you are setting up your sequence. So that is that step. So far we have created our landing page, we've set up our tag, we've set up our emails. So we have our keep warm emails, and then we have our follow-up emails. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to set up our visual automation. And the visual automation is what's going to cause everything to run the way that we want it to. So we come up here to automate, go to visual automations. And this one I have not pre-built, so we're going to build this one together. So we're going to go to new automation. And we're going to do from scratch. And let's change the name of this. So we want to name this webinar automation. And then we're going to start building. So we want this automation to start when someone joins a form. So a form is either a form or a landing page. So we don't want this to be like just any old form. We want it to be our webinar form. So we come in here and we choose our webinar sign up page, and then we add event. Now, one of the things I like to do is there is like the rare instance where I manually add someone to a webinar, like they've already are on my email list, and I just manually add them. So I want to have that taken care of as well. So what I like to do for that is like I just add the tag to their account. So let's add another step for this. So let's say a tag is added. So we add our webinar tag. So that way, if someone signs up on the landing page, or if we add this tag to their account, they will get added to this visual automation. So the first thing we want to do is add a tag. And so this is really only going to apply for someone who's going to sign up on the landing page, but we like to do this step because this is how the person actually gets that tag added to their account. So we come in here, the action, add tag, make sure it's not remove, and then we search for the tag, so webinar 2024-07, and then add action. So then what's going to happen is they're going to get that confirmation email that comes from the landing page. So there's nothing that we need to do there. And then what we want to do is we want to set a wait step. So the reason why we want to do a wait step is because all the other emails that we're sending out are going to be sent as broadcasts leading up to the challenge or leading up to the webinar. So from there, what we want to do is we want to wait until the webinar ends before we add them to our sequence. So then we have an event. So the date occurs. And then when this date occurs, this is when we want this action to happen. So our webinar is on July 15th. So let's say July 15th so our webinar is at 11:30. We want to give ourselves some time to get the video uploaded to YouTube and have our replay link and all that stuff ready to go. So let's say we want this email to go out at like 4 p.m. So when July 15th, 4 p.m. rolls around, then we are going to complete the rest of this webinar. So They get this tag added, and then they're just going to sit here and wait until this date and time happens. And then you also just want to make sure that your time zone is correct. And then the last step here is the action is add the subscriber to an email sequence. So then we have our email sequence, which is the webinar follow-up, add action, and then that is all we need to do. So here's what's going to happen. Again, just to walk you through it. So someone's going to sign up for our landing page, and so to get the link to the landing page, you will just put that on like Facebook, social media, wherever you're going to send it to people for them to sign up. And they sign up, they get this tag added to their account, webinar 2024-07. And then once that tag has been added, they're just sitting here waiting for that date to arrive, which is after our webinar, and then sometime in that afternoon, so that we have time to get the replay video up and have that email edited with the link to the replay. And then we want to then send them to the webinar follow-up sequence at that time. And then the rest of the automation is going to run by itself. So that is it. That is all we need to do. And then just come up here and click active to turn it on. Yeah, so that is all you need to do. And then the question is, okay, so what if I want to do another webinar in the future? The nice thing is you don't need to go in and recreate the webinar from scratch every single time. All you need to do is go into your existing landing page. Like, you can use the same landing page that you've already done. You just come in here, edit, change the details. So like, let's say you're running a different webinar. You just change the details here, change the date and time, save it. And then from there, you just edit your emails. So you edit your emails, make sure that you're setting it to, you create your new tag, you send your emails. So you set up your broadcast, and then typically you're going to send us the exact same sequence. So you just go in and edit the sequence as you need to, changing any information there. And then you just come back to your visual automation, and then you click on edit. And then all you need to do is change these steps here. So actually, this one wouldn't change at all because the webinar sign-up page is going to stay the same. You would change your tag here, change your tag here to whatever the new tag is, and then you would just change your date. So whenever you want this person to get added to the follow-up sequence, you just change that date here. And then that's all that you need to do to then run your webinar again at a future date. So that way you're only creating things once. All you have to do is come in and edit it, and that's all I would do. Now, the one question is, what is the difference between how I would set this up for a challenge versus a webinar? Because everything that I've walked through here is for just a webinar. So here's the only difference. So you come to send, you go to broadcast. So for each day of your challenge, so let's say it's a 3-day challenge, you would just have additional broadcasts set for each of those 3 days in your challenge. That would be like your replays. And so you would set them up here, have them saved as drafts, ready to go. And those I would not schedule out. And the reason I would not schedule those out is because you want to make sure that you have time to go in, edit the email, to put in like any replay link or any additional information that you want to remind them of in that email. And you don't want it to go out automatically, because inevitably something will happen that you can't get to the email when you thought you were going to be able to get to it. And then the email would automatically go out if you have it scheduled, and it would not have the correct email link and all that information. So that is why I don't schedule those. I just save those as drafts. So you can have them pre-written, ready to go, and then you just need to go in and edit those additional details, and then you send it from there. So that is the only thing that I would do. So like how you see I have these keep warm emails as drafts, that's what I would do. Like challenge day 1, challenge day 2, challenge day 3, saved as drafts, go in, edit, put in the new link that I need for the replay, and then send the email from there. So that is the only difference in terms of a webinar and a challenge. But yeah, I hope this video you found helpful, and that it helps you in terms of walking through a challenge or webinar using ConvertKit. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I will be glad to help you. Talk to you soon. Peace.